Hey everyone, this is Stellar Firefly, and this is another quick tutorial about some of the very basic DayZ Epoch settings. Most Epoch mods know about these settings already, but this tutorial is aimed at newer admins, or at least those that are new to the DayZ Epoch mod, who may not know about these features. The features we'll discuss here are 1. Parachute insertions, 2. Custom starting loadouts, 3. Force name tags, and 4. Self-Administered Blood Transfusions. Most veteran Epoch admins already know about these, but those of you who are new to the Epoch DayZ mod may not know how easy they are to implement, and so this tutorial is for you. And I know that there are some of you out there because I keep seeing you asking about these things in the forums. Just admit it. Also, you should be able to use these settings on any Epoch or Overpoch server, unless it's been so heavily modified that there's really not much left of core Epoch intact. These features are built into the Epoch mod itself, and so all we're really going to do is to show you how to enable them, and to configure them to your liking. This video will make use of the TC Admin Control Panel, which many commercial servers provide. But all we'll really be using it for is to, well, basically as a file editor, so those of you who are not using a TC Admin enabled server, you can just use any other method that you want to edit the text files that we're going to mention here. Let's start out with parachute insertions. This is technically a, quote, in-testing feature, at least as of the version of Epoch available during the making of this video, which is 1051. But a lot of us have been using it for quite some time now, and it works great. As an in-testing feature, it defaults to being disabled. To enable it, first remember to shut down your server. We can't make changes to a running server. We need to go to the MP missions folder and then the map folder for our particular map. In this server's case, it's using a Chernarus map set up as instance 11, and to edit the init.sqf file. Most of the front of this file is just flat code, so what we like to do is to just add our custom code into this section labeled DayZ Epoch config. If your particular init.sqf file doesn't have a section like this labeled already, then just make one somewhere near the start of the file, usually near where it sets values spawn area and max vehicle limit. That's a good place. To enable parachute insertions, we need to set a variable like so. DayZ_paraspawn equals true. If this is set to false, or if it's not set at all, then parachute insertions will be disabled and new spawns will use the whole washed up on shore thing instead. But when it's enabled, then all new spawns will have this happen. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with parachute insertions, we should talk a bit about the upsides and the downsides, so that you can better decide if you want to use them or not. Upside number 1. It's way freaking more awesome than washing up on shore. Well, that is, as long as you don't open your parachute too late. Upside number 2. Spawn Roulette is now on a shorter and reliable timer. Normally when someone respawns someplace that they don't want to be, then they can just play some Spawn Roulette and get themselves killed, usually by finding a zombie to smack them around for a bit. The problem is it may take a little time to even find a zombie, and assuming he isn't a complete idiot, it can take some time for him to kill you. If you have a gun, you can try to get the attention of more, but it still takes a while to get yourself offed and respawn someplace else. With parachute insertions, Spawn Roulette is easy. If you spawn out in the wilderness, or maybe just someplace even worse, just don't open your chute and let yourself crater. It works even if you hit the water, like any high diver will tell you. Note that it does not provide a fast death if you respawn as a zombie, because zombies don't insert themselves via parachute drops. But if you come back as a human, instant reliable respawn roll in about 35 seconds. Upside number 3. HAHO insertions, or High Altitude High Opening. Yes, that's really an acronym. Look it up. The idea here is to open your parachute very early. This allows for a possibly long travel distance before you actually land. You can actually cover a lot of ground by doing this. The drawback is that you can be floating for a while. The earlier you open, the more time before you land. But as you can see here in this demo, we actually started off in Chernogorsk, and we landed within spitting distance of Stary Sobor. It took us about 4 minutes to do it, but just try starting as a new spawn in Chernogorsk, and then getting near Stary Sobor within 4 minutes on foot. The downsides to parachute insertions are, well, there aren't any major downsides, except maybe the fact that you will be a very slow-moving duck in a shooting gallery if you decide to land in a hot zone. So you may want to consider not dropping straight into Electro Power Station, for example. Okay, you get the idea. Let's move on to something more basic like custom loadouts. To change the starting loadout of a newly spawned player, simply open up your init.sqf file again, and somewhere around where we discussed earlier for the parachute insert operation, just add these following lines. DefaultWeapons equals some set, DefaultMagazines equals some set, DefaultBackpack equals some object, and DefaultBackpackItems equals some set. The key here is that you'll need to know the object names of the items that you wish to provide your players. Here's an example of what we use. As you can see, we start off our players with a terminal pack, an M9 with a single magazine, a flashlight, hatchet, and map, 1 food, 1 drink, painkillers, and a few bandages. But of course you can start your own players with any set of valid gear. Take note that the backpack is a single item, while the weapons, magazines, and backpack items are all lists of items in square brackets. To find valid object names to place into here, you can probably just Google a list, or just ask others for other examples of what they use. Next up is force name tags. To enable them, we just go to our init.sqf file again, and somewhere around the same area we add DZE_force name tags equals true. There's really not much to explain here. Instead of asking it at each respawn whether or not to enable name tags, the setting simply assumes that they're always on and doesn't bother to ask the user. Of course, you may want to use this only on a PvE server. Note that setting DZE_force name tags equals false does not automatically turn them off. All this does is go back to asking the user after every respawn whether he wants to turn them on or off, which is the default setting. Finally, let's talk about self-administered blood transfusions. This is something that a lot of admins ask about and wonder if there's a mod that'll allow them to do it when it's already built into Epoch. To enable them, we just go back into our init.sqf file, and again somewhere around the same area we add 2 lines. DZE_self-transfuse equals true, DZE_self-transfuse values equals, and some set of 3 values. For this example, we'll use the values 4,000, 50, and 300. The first line obviously just turns them on, but let's go into detail about the values in the second line. The first value, in this example 4,000, is the amount of blood that is restored during a self-transfusion. Keep in mind that full blood is 12,000 units, so in this example we're restoring only 33%. This is a common value that many servers use because it doesn't deprecate the idea of others giving you blood. You can either heal yourself for only 1/3 of your total blood, or you can get your buddy to do it to always restore 100% of your blood. The second value, in this example 50, is the inverse chance of becoming infected during a self-transfusion. In other words, we have a 1 in 50 chance, or 2% chance, of becoming infected every time we transfuse ourselves. So change this value to alter the chances. If you want only a 0.1% chance of infection, then that is just 1 in 1,000, so change this value to 1,000. If you want your players to have a 10% chance of infection, then that is 1 in 10, so change this value to 10, and so on. For 0% chance of infection, just change this value to 0. The third value is the cooldown value in seconds. In this example, it's set to 300 seconds, or 5 minutes. This means that our players will be able to self-transfuse only once every 5 minutes. Just change this value to something else if you'd like your users to be able to self-transfuse more or less frequently. If a player attempts to self-transfuse while they're still in cooldown, then they will receive a message telling them how many more seconds they need to wait. And that's it. Play around with these settings on your server, and if you have any questions or comments, then feel free to ask in the comments below. Good luck, have fun, and watch your back.